Welcome to the First 40 Sports Show on YouTube. This is the Goon Squad. You got Ice Water, Black Thor, and yours truly, Puma. We're going to be talking about some sports and try to catch us in our podcast because we're going to be interviewing interesting player that Black had brought me in. And hopefully, towards the end of the show, you could tell us a little bit about Mr. Donald Boone, offensive lineman from Chowan University, the Braves. But let's start talking about Gronk, man. This has been the story. You know what, Black? I was very surprised that Gronk came back based on how his interview went when he was leaving. A lot of people thought that maybe he'd been suffering from past injuries and CTE with concussions and things of that sort. And he just sounded a real shaky when he left. And then all of a sudden, everything falls into place where he's in Tampa with Tom Brady, which makes me think this was in the makings for a while, and it just didn't happen all of a sudden. What are your thoughts about this, man?
Well, I think Brady and Gronk might have talked about it when Gronk, supposedly retired. I'm not sure about the CTE with Gronk, but I think he needed a break to step away just to kind of recharge himself and kind of do something a little different. And I think, too, when you see your friend gets in a situation where Brady moves on to Tampa Bay, the euphoria inside you probably kicked in. He wants to play again. He wants to get out there. So even if they didn't plan it, I think at some point he picked up the phone and said to Brady, you know what, can you talk to them, see what interest they had? And I'm not saying I saw this coming, but I found it interesting 3 or 4 weeks ago when Tampa Bay was kind of shopping their tight end Howard. They kept trying to throw his name out there, let everybody know he's available. So and looking back now, you see all that was kind of in the works and was kind of starting to develop at that point. So I think it's not a bad deal. It's not a bad deal for the most part for Tampa Bay. You have to look for him to give you a lot. To me, in fact, he can line up on the field, man. He's a great decoy, and I think he's going to help the offense flourish some. But, hey, man, I give it to him. The guy has found a way. If he's not seriously damaged upstairs, he's found a way to basically walk away, have a life in wrestling. He was on Fox for a little period of time, and get to come back and play a game you love for a year or two, maybe pick up $9-10 million. Not bad, bro. 30 years old, not bad.
Yeah, well, the interesting thing about Ice is that if he would have told the New England Patriots that he was coming back there, they couldn't get him under the cap and with that $10 million and fulfill his contract. But it also reminded me of something else, Ice, is that you ever have an ex-girlfriend and you've been away from her for a while, and then you see each other again, and then you kind of rekindle. And then you figure out, you spend a little time with them, you figure out, okay, now I remember why I left. That's what I think is going to happen to Gronk. But what's your thoughts on that? Because that first hit, that first kind of smell of that competition, and you get hit, maybe he's like, you know what, maybe I was hasty. Maybe I should have stayed in retirement. Your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I don't know about that one. I mean, I think he's a still kind of dude. That you act like he all soft. We're not gonna go there with that. I don't see nothing soft about him unless he just want to be soft. But I don't know. I think overall it was a great situation for him. He had a chance to reflect, and when you get to play with your guy, that was his guy. Brady is his guy. They did well together in New England, and even when he was only there partial, when it counted, they got the job done. So in regards to them planning it, I think they might have talked about it a little bit. And then once Brady said he was gone, I don't think Gronk would ever come back to New England. I think that was never an option. That wasn't he wasn't doing that. And I think that speaks for itself. But to go to Tampa and just try it. And they have weapons, man. I mean, that you have to salute them for that from the standpoint of, you think about the wide receivers. Because you can't tell me Mr. Evans is not excited as hell right now. He has to be jumping for joy to play on a team that they think might be a contender. They also mentioned them getting rid of perhaps Howard. They do have Cameron Braid as well. You thought Howard would be above Braid, but apparently they're not really happy with the way Howard's been playing lately. He's a talent. He should land somewhere, but they get the running back situation is decent. They can probably pick somebody else up. Offensive line's coming along, and yeah, I mean, why not? Shoot, like Black Thor said, you get the money, but then also he doesn't have to be the primary target either. In New England, after a while, when things were shutting down, even late in the playoffs, they had to look for Gronk, even when he was hurt. he made plays in the Super Bowl. You're like, man, didn't he just come off of the injured list? But here, he can take his time. He didn't have to catch 100 passes. He just has to be a part of it. And I think it'll be fun. I mean, what the heck? Imagine if they could win in Tampa. And then they would say it was not just New England. Maybe these guys have to really rolling. And you can't tell me that the rest of those guys in Tampa are not just juiced up. You've been losing, and then this comes together, and you have a chance to win. That'll fire you up. You need to turn your money and your jersey back in.
Let's stay with you with this one, Ice. Quick question. Do you think these two players, Belichick was wearing thin on these two players, and that's why they kind of made a bolt right out of New England and said, you know, we don't want to play under him anymore? Because it seemed like an ideal situation to play with the Patriots. I mean, you're guaranteed to get in the playoffs every year and get to the Super Bowl almost every year. Could it be that his attitude and the way he was doing things just wore thin on Gronk and Brady?
It could be, but I'm not going to go that far. But I think if you look at what happened last year, I mean, they tried everything. They did everything they could. They brought in people. They ended up with the young wide receivers like Harry or something like that. He was like a rookie coming in, and he was like their go-to guy. I was like, where the hell is Mohamed Sanu? But I think they kind of saw the writing on the wall. So it's like anything else. You get together and you ride things till the wheels fall off. And they tried everything. You think about it. They had Edelman in the slide. They had James White trying to catch passes. It just wasn't working last year. It wasn't working. And I think they kind of saw Brady anyway was like, you got to give me some help. You got to give me some help. And we just can't do it like this anymore. So I would say Belichick probably didn't help the situation like that. But when you really look at what happened last year, if you Brady, like, hell yeah, I'll go to Tampa Bay. I mean, what? I love Edelman. I love those guys. But, that ship is sailed.
Black, did Belichick kind of wear thin on these players?
It's possible. I think he wore thin on Gronk before he wore thin on Brady. I think that's possible. But in reality, Brady really can't complain. He really can't. I mean, he had 20 years of someone basically putting you in a position to make you who you are. Whether you like Belichick or not, he can't really look back. And I heard some of his interview he did a week ago, and I respect him for it because you can't come back now and unload on Belichick no matter what he's done, what you may have not have liked, because without him, you don't have those 6 rings, bro. You just don't have it. So I understand Gronk can win throwing at him because Gronk is not the type of player, when you look at his personality, that can fit into the New England way as much as they probably want him to. So I understand with him. But Brady he can't kick back now and act like, you know what, I ran away. After 20 years, it was just time to move on. It was just time for them to basically go separate ways. And I think they have a lot of fond respect for each other. Belichick, I've seen this throughout the years. Belichick has a persona that he does not show to people. And I saw that years ago, and it didn't. I was like, man. And I remember Daniel Thomason said that years ago. He said the Belichick that he allows you to see on camera is not the Belichick that is off camera. So Belichick puts on a persona when he's all about business, but when he's off, it's totally different. So no, I don't think he wore thin on Tom, but I think Gronk, I think Gronk just wanted to get away, just kind of get away and kind of recharge a little bit.
All right, Ice. NCAA football decides to stay with the 4 playoff system. Do you agree?
Yeah, why not? I mean, seriously, you always try to change it. You change it. If you change it to where 6 can get in, then there's somebody going to complain it's not 8. You change it to 8, is going to be somebody talking about 10. No matter what you do. And I think you have to have legitimate evidence as to why you would change it. So let's roll with the 4. I can see 6, but then again, what happens when you get that 1-6 matchup? That's horrible. That's horrible. And somebody gets blown out. And then you'll go, well, they really played hard. Boise State. Come on, man. Win the games, bro. That's all you got to do. Win the games.
Good idea, Black.
Yeah, I like the setup. Unless, to me, you're going to blow it up and you're going to have where the NCAA put the schedules together, you got to keep it at 4, bro. Because it's working for the most part. Who saw LSU coming before last year? We didn't see them coming down the pipe. So, I mean, every year a team emerge has a chance to do something different. So, yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's working, bro. I mean, I don't think any team that was outside the top 4 last year would have beat LSU, bro. No matter, there was no team even the top 8, if you're going to bring in, it'd be LSU. Once they got rid of Les Miles, the projections changed. It was headed up. You know what I mean? They found the quarterback and they throw the ball. They got receivers.
Les Miles.
Just for a second, man. I don't want to down your man too much, but think about the receivers they had that couldn't even get the ball thrown to them due to Les Miles basically eating grass and running half a yard in the dust, bro. Come on, man. Winning games 9-6. They got away from that. So, that's all I'm saying, man. What team is he coaching now? Walter Smith Pop League? No, I'm sorry. It's Kansas State. Okay, I forgot about that.
All right. The Last Dance, man. I saw the first 2 episodes, and I kind of like where they're going with this, but I gotta say with this, Ice, they're setting up folks who are Jordan fans up for a gut punch, because I think they're setting them up, having them fall in love with the Bulls all over again, the championship. And it seems to me that they interviewed everybody else first, and then they went to Jordan to ask him about certain things that other people brought up. And they left off where Jordan thought that Scottie was kind of selfish in the last season for not getting the surgery earlier and sat out part of the season. Wondering if you got a chance to watch any of this. I think they're playing 2 more this Sunday, which I thought was pretty good. I thought I have to give them credit. It was a pretty good first 2 shows, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I was able to watch most of it. I was in and out, but I watched enough of it. Yeah, it's interesting, but I think you get to see Jordan for who he really was, and a lot of people don't want to talk about that. He was kind of over the top when it came to how he wanted to win, so it was his team and it was his show, and he treated people as such. So some people might have a problem with that, but it's like anything else. What you allow is what somebody will do to you. So you had some of those guys on the team that, and maybe Jordan could have got rid of them, but they just kind of took it. But, how tough are you? Because he knew who, it was almost, to me, he would say certain things to everybody, but he knew who to go after. He knew who to berate and really put down. Certain people weren't having that. And I think he knew who that was. But overall, I think it's good. It's good to have insight on it, to see what people were saying. And, the Scottie Pippen situation, I don't blame him. I've done the same thing. It's like, really? What the hell I owe you? Even though I signed the contract, I know Black Thor going to say it. You signed that contract, 7 years, $18 million.
No contract.
Huh?
That was a dumb contract.
It was, but as far as like the owner said though, I didn't tell you to sign that contract.
Yeah,
I didn't tell you to
sign it.
Huh?
He told him not to sign it.
Right, but he told him to sign. He told him not to sign it, but he really wasn't telling him too hard not to sign it. He said, "Oh, that what you want to do? All right, here you go." And then of course he admitted it was a horrible contract. But then again, Scottie said he took the money because he was desperate to take care of his family. It's all well and good, but when the NBA blew up, it changed the game, and he wasn't negotiating with nobody. So, but I understand what Scottie was saying. So I wouldn't have rushed back either. Jordan can feel all he want to. You just got to suck it up, bro. I'll be over here. I'll be back. Don't worry about it though. So I don't have a problem with that at all. So Mike, no matter what you do, Mike is like it's like your perfectionist dad. He wants you to be perfect when you was growing up. No matter what you did, your ass was still wrong to a point. Or your teacher, you could have done better, Mr. Blah, blah, blah. Really? Take a break. Take a breather. I got a B+.
Well, I remember it wasn't just Scottie. It was Horace. They signed horrible contracts, and they were stuck in them, and they were grossly underpaid for what they did. Like, I know you're a Knick fan. It was hard for me watching as a Knick fan, but they didn't show too many Knick highlights. It was just they recorded them that last year, that Last Dance. But have you seen this? Have you read about this? What do you know, bro?
I'd rather watch 2 squirrels fight over an acorn, bro. I ain't watched that. Miss me with that. I'm serious, man. I'm amazed. I understand we have no sports, but we all know who Michael Jordan is. I'm amazed that people have found interest and going back and analyzing like it happened yesterday. I mean, I remember Scottie getting a bad contract. I remember how he handled that game when he didn't want to go out, all that stuff. But to go back and analyze this, and what I found to be really interesting, people are now trying to change the perception of Michael Jordan and make him out to be something he is. Michael Jordan is a selfish son of a bitch. It's just what it is. It's about himself. He's always been about himself. And I'm sorry, I don't want to see him in any other light. You can't tell me nothing different. I lived through that. There's nothing you go back and show me in a documentary now that's going to tell me anything different I know about that. I don't want to call him a name. I'll leave it at that. So no, miss me with that. I wouldn't, you could pay me $1 million, I would sit down and watch that garbage, bro. It ain't got nothing to do with the Knicks. Seriously, I would not. He's to me as a man, like I said, the way he treat people, the way he rate people, I can't respect anyone, no matter how talented you are, what you do for a living, that treat people like, man, that's not how we're supposed to live as human beings. So what, this brother can put a ball in the basketball, he can score when he wants to. I don't give an F, I don't. And I'm amazed now how society, just because to me he can do that, we want to go back and give him flowers and damn all that, bro. We got people, we got teachers and people that work in the hospital deserve half the praise this jackass get, but they don't get it. But we all want to pile it on him and give it to him. Miss me with all that nonsense, bro. Miss me with that, please.
What I notice about this is that it seems like he's doing a lot of damage control early. He's getting out in front. We talked about this last week, Ice, about doing certain things because he's seen this documentary and he's saying it's going to make him look bad. And he's doing a lot of damage control before that. So it should be interesting. I'm going to check it out to watch the rest of it to see how much damage is done, because it might do damage to his brand the way he's out there in front trying to give out money, sending money to charity, all this other stuff, getting out and Good Morning America and talking about all this other stuff.
Here's a funny thing. What charity? Name a charity you're giving it to, bro. I'm going to give it the money. That's an old 30-year-old poor. What charity? I bet ain't a black charity. I guarantee you that. Ain't a black charity.
Say though, I mean, hurt his brand. I mean, how much more is it gonna hurt his brand? The man made so much money that the Nike told him to stop paying them. That's how much they made so much money off of him. They're like, you just keep it. We don't need any more of it. So from that standpoint, and then you got to think about people feeling in their feelings. Like for instance, they mentioned about Rip Hamilton being told by Jordan he wasn't good enough to be part of his brand. Oh, Michael told me this. Man, Rip, work on your game. If he don't want you, somebody else does. Come on, Rip. Why you on that man like that? That's what I don't understand. Growing up, and I know he's Michael Jordan, but if you ain't trying to work with me or deal with me, the hell with you. I'm gonna go to Puma somewhere. That's why the part is like you need his praise to consider whether or not you were great. Child, please.
Let's go to a more gentler subject, the WNBA draft last week. Man, I hope the NFL draft is not like this tomorrow night, because that WNBA draft put me to sleep. It was like, I don't know if they had any direction, who was directing it, but Black, I'm glad that the ladies were drafted, but I was dozing off watching just the first 2 or 3 picks and how the tape delay and the different kind of, it just didn't feel right. And it's almost like these talk show hosts that are on now, they're telling jokes and nobody's laughing. You can feel, and it's not funny because the laugh tracks ain't in the background for you to cue you to laugh. But what are your thoughts about the draft, man?
I'll say this, man. I think the NFL is going to put together a better draft than we saw for that. I caught the replay, and you're right. I couldn't watch it for long, man. I was just happy to see the young lady. I can't think of her name now. We talked about her. I brought up a few weeks ago that's left UConn early. New York Liberty drafter. She's going to be playing in New York, which now is in Brooklyn. It's not even in New York. It's in Brooklyn, New York. It's not anyway. She went to Brooklyn, and I was happy to see that. I think ESPN did them a disservice in a sense. The amount of money that ESPN has in their coffers, they can put out better equipment to show these people at home and make that more entertaining and more worthy of watching. That's ESPN, bro. That's not really the WNBA. They kind of did a disservice, in my opinion. You had weeks to put this together, to put a better production together. It was shabby. It wasn't done tight. It was unproduced. I put that squarely at the feet of ESPN.
Ice, you get a chance to watch the draft?
A little bit, but I also just kind of followed up to see what happened, looking at the teams and whatnot. But when you look at ESPN, it shows you what they think about that league, man. Let's be real. So when the NFL tomorrow, you watch them cameras. They have cameras everywhere. Put cameras in the bathroom, cameras up. I'm just saying everywhere. I'm just saying that's how they got it set up. That's how they do. But so they pay attention to what they believe is important. And I'm telling you, everything's gonna be covered tomorrow when you watch that draft. In regards to the WNBA draft, though, look at some of the teams and how things are going on. I find it ironic though, because you look at the 6th pick, Micaiah Herbert Harrison, right? She's from from South Carolina. And she'll average like 8 points a game and 4 rebounds. But she was a 6th pick.
Yeah.
And I started looking at some stuff. I said, she's a monster. She has a lot of talent. She has a lot of potential, and she's going to grow into a great player. And Minnesota took a chance on her. And then they came back right after that in the 2nd round, picking up the guard Crystal Dangerfield from UConn. So those are two solid individuals on their bench, or if they start, whatever happens, that are going to provide immediate impact on their teams. I was glad to see that because Dangerfield, because she's not really flashy or anything, I think that kind of hurt her status, and he had a lot of top-notch girls coming out, but she's a player. She's tough as nails, and I think that's going to really help her down the line. But overall, I was happy for the ladies, always happy that way, but it'll be interesting because, like you said, the way that the ESPN played the draft was like, and the other part too, real quick, I don't think that the league or ESPN does enough to educate the average fan about the WNBA.
Yeah.
Because like when you watch that draft, it's like, if you don't know who that is, you're like, damn, is she from Australia? Is she from China? It's not enough information. And then you expect people that are novices to stay tuned in. You got to do something to kind of keep my attention, basically.
It's almost like, and maybe you might want to respond to this. You don't need to. It's almost like they're just kind of doing things to say, hey, we did it. If it doesn't work, then, you can't blame us. We put you out there. So if it doesn't work, it's not our fault.
They did a better job covering Kobe Bryant's anniversary of his last final game than they did with the draft run. They just did. I mean, in my opinion, they do a better job. And Ice is right. Tomorrow, watch the production tomorrow, how slick it is, how sharp it is, the attention to detail they'll give tomorrow that they did not give to that draft.
All right, sticking with the draft, Black. Any expectations? Who do you think is going to make a move and why?
I think it's going to be interesting because it's kind of hard now, and it's kind of hard to think about it too much because when are they going to play, bro? I mean, let's get real.
That's true.
When are they going to play? So it's kind of, I can't even say it's in a vacuum. It's kind of tough to wrap my head around it because we don't know realistically I don't think they're going to play this year. And I know they just signed a new contract. But if the NBA is starting to lose money, because we don't even talk about the China thing anymore. They lost money from China. Now you figure they're cutting back 25% from the NBA players. If things get really tight, we may not see them dribble a basketball again in the WNBA. And that might be harsh to say, bro. It may not happen because the NBA is fronting them. So I guarantee you see basically how James Dolan, whose pockets are deep, basically said bye-bye to New York Liberty. Like I said, they're playing in Brooklyn now. They was playing in Westchester last year. Now they're in Brooklyn. I think it was a Chinese man bought basically the Liberty to bring them to Brooklyn. So some owners start saying the same thing. They might even dribble a ball next year. It may not happen. And it may sound harsh, but that is a possibility.
All right, Ice, the NFL draft tomorrow. Any expectations? What moves do you expect?
He said NFL, but see, he told me a WNBA.
I'll come back to you. That's
okay, bro.
I was like.
That's why I got these glasses on.
Yeah, I was like, wow. Anyway, I can see your beloved Giants maybe trading out because what they're looking for, they know somebody wants to move up, and if they're not going to get somebody the exact player they're looking for, there's no specific talent, then you could either stockpile or do yourself a favor and do some other things. From that standpoint, it will be interesting to see what other teams do too as well, what Detroit decides to do, making some moves. Because there are teams out there that want quarterbacks, and it'll be interesting to see how it moves up. And what I want to find out is about these wide receivers, because there's a lot of teams out there that need wide receivers. And the way they're rating them, they're really pumping up the wide receivers from Alabama. Mm-hmm. And that's all well and good. I think that's cool. But and they like Jefferson from LSU. But the one guy I think they're sleeping on, and I might be wrong, but every time they turn the lights on, he showed up. That's that CD Lamb, man. That
Oklahoma.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every time they turn the lights on, and you can say it was the quarterback, you can say a lot of things, but the guy was like, here I am. And if I was looking at my franchise, I went to them Cowboys at 17, he won't last that long. But yeah, he could get it seriously because he's a top-notch athlete, and like I said, he's a money player, so I like him a lot.
I don't think he's going to drop that far.
I know. I'm just.
I know.
We can all dream, bro.
Yeah, and we've been dreaming for a long time with the Giants. But anyway, Black, the NFL draft, man. What are your expectations? What do you think teams are going to do?
I think Detroit's going to try to make some move. I'll be surprised if the Giants move out there for a spot. I do think that there's going to be a team that come up and try to get to her. I think there's a team going to come out of nowhere. And I think another thing, too, I think there's quarterbacks, mobile quarterbacks. I think everybody's looking at the kid from Oregon and thinking he's going to go that high. I think this quarterback class, if you're mobile, you can go pick higher than some quarterbacks that kind of stand still. Outside of the first pick, basically Cincinnati with I think it's just some quarterbacks that are kind of mobile. The quarterback from Oklahoma, I can't think of his name right now. I think he's going to go higher. I'm not saying the first round, but I think he's going to go higher than we probably thought he would go because of his ability to move around and throw on the run. And I think more teams are going to start to see that based on what they see with Lamar Jackson. Going to move up and try to grab quarterbacks in that particular sense. So I think it's going to be interesting. It's going to be real interesting. I'm surprised the receivers. I won't be surprised. I know you say it may not last that long, but looking at some of the mock drafts, I'm not a big fan of the mock draft, but it seemed like from the top 10, a lot of these teams are thinking about defense, and I'm looking at receivers. So I won't be surprised, man. Some of those receivers do kind of fall back or maybe fall to like 12 or 13, where a team like the Cowboys can possibly slide up and grab one because they're not looking at these receivers the same way we're looking at them, man. They're looking at more defense, cornerbacks, and stuff of that nature. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, don't be surprised if the Bears pick up a quarterback if it's available because the talk here is that Trubisky is not going to make it. They're not looking at picking up his fifth-year option. They're really slow walking this. And if they don't get a quarterback, they may. But if they do, they're not signing that option.
I'm going to say this, man. In my opinion, if you feel that way about him, cut him now and bring in Cam Newton. Stop playing. That's it. Bring in Cam Newton, cut him. Stop playing. Why are you playing around? You're not going to find nothing in the draft right away that's going to give you better than what Cam Newton's going to give you. Bring in Cam Newton, stop playing.
I know we're going to talk about this on the podcast, Ice, is that Jacksonville, they said rumors Jacksonville looking at Cam Newton and getting Fournette out of there. So that might be an option for him.
Yeah, that might be going backwards, though, because you get rid of one guy, then you bring in the other guy. So I'm like, what are you trying to do? And the question is, not like Cam Newton has a lot of choices, but do you want to go to Jacksonville? I mean, what's down there? I mean, offensively. So, I mean, maybe you just need to check, but I think there's a few other places I think if I was him, I'd probably be trying to look into, particularly if it's your choice.
Black, you heard the rumors?
Yeah, to me, it sounds like the rumor started by Fournette, bro. I don't know if Jacksonville's behind that, bro. I think Fournette started that. I think they want him out of there in a sense. I think that even though Coughlin's going, I think Fournette has kind of been bouncing around. We knew he was in college. He's off he's on some weekends, some weekend he's off. I don't think he showed that consistency, but I think he's been saying that to try to get Cam to save his job. But he might be out. If they draft a running back, that brother might be on the way out there. But like I said, I don't see that the spot for him, man. There's nothing there. Their defense is not strong like it used to be. He should be trying. I hate to say it, I'll be campaigning for the job in Chicago, bro. Campaigning. Sleeping outside the stadium, go outside, practice outside, throw some football. What you got to do, man? Go Chicago because, I mean, if there's more. With that defense, with Cam, you have something, man. Ball control, do what you got to do. I mean, it's time. The Trubisky trial is over, bro. Cut this cat. Stop acting like he's going to show you something he ain't shown you in the past 4 years. That's one thing I'll say about Tampa Bay. Not only the fact that they got Tom Brady, they knew Jameis wasn't going to be it. He's got to go. He's got to go. You've seen enough. You gave him a chance last year. You got to go. Stop playing around. Stop playing with his field. He's a grown man. He can deal with it. Cut him. Let him go. Let him go find another team that's going to basically waste their talent, waste their choice on him. Let him go.
Now, Black, I have to give you credit for this. You said this a long time ago about Anthony Davis, that he's not locked in. Look at him pulling down his Briar Boys hat. And he's putting his mansion up for sale in L.A. So what do you think this means, man?
You know, I'm just going to say this, man. I've broken a lot of stories on this show, bro. I've broken a lot of stories. And as long as I'm on this show, I will continue to break them. That's all I'm going to say. Long before anybody else can see them, I have an eye for that. I appreciate it. Thank you. No need to clap.
Happy boy.
I'm going to say this first. I'm amazed that ESPN still hasn't reported this story. This story broke Friday or Saturday. They have yet to talk about it. Here it is Wednesday. They haven't said nothing. I think it means he doesn't see enough of this clown show in L.A. He doesn't see enough of LeBron James hogging the ball, trying to do what he can do. He's out of there, bro. I don't understand why you buy a house in the first place knowing you might only be there for a year. I don't get that. Now you're trying to sell for $7.5 million. You ain't buying that piece of house, bro. The market's going this way. Anyway, he's going to probably look to play in Chicago. I'm not going to say New York, but he's going to move to another big market. He's going to move to another big market to play. I think he wants to be a man somewhere else, but I think he's seen enough to realize that it's not going to happen, bro. He realized what's on the other side of LA. He realized what the Clippers are doing. He understands that. And he understands. I don't think he believes. I think he wanted to get out in New Orleans to play with LeBron. But I think being around LeBron these past month, he started what other players were saying about LeBron. And this brother wants out. Tom Brady did the same thing. Sold his house. Look where Tom Brady's playing. It's an idea. LeBron did the same thing. He sold his house, bought a house in LA. He moved. If he's selling his house, that cat's out of there, bro. He's out of there. But the thing for me is LA, why would you bring him in? Bring him in if he's not going to sign an extension. I don't care what LeBron said. I wouldn't have made the deal unless he said to me or wrote down, yeah, I'm signing extension, at least for 2 years, bro. You got him for 1 year. You leased him for 1 year. When he leaves that team, watch what happens to the Lakers. Watch what happens. They're done for the next several years. Go draft the other, go draft what's his name's brother, the one that's coming out of that foreign country. Draft him. Let him play with LeBron next year.
Ice, what are your thoughts on this? Because when I saw it, I'm like, oh boy, this is quite interesting that he's selling his mansion during this particular time.
Yeah, I mean, I can see about the red flags, but I don't know if it's just all over just now. Even though the great wise Black Thor said so, that's what it is. So I mean, if it does, I'll be the first one to go. All right, congratulations again. You won again. Again, that's what you want to hear. But until it happens, I mean, people do different things. But I do like the factor that if you're going to leave, then we had talked before about Chicago. That would be perfect because you get to go home. And if they keep doing things, turn things around the right way, I told you, that team, woo, Anthony Davis on that team, with what they're building on, oh my goodness. The next 5 years are going to be nasty. And you get a coach that really knows what the heck is going on and appreciates young talent. They are ready. I'm telling you, I played with them. I told you before I played on 2K with them, Black Thor. And I was like, oh my goodness, all this talent, the hell are they doing? So as long as they don't mess it up and he comes over there, I think it'll be fine. And the Lakers going to deal with it how they will. If he's leaving, it must mean too, I'm just going to throw this out there, that your boy LeBron may not be long for the league. Because if he was going to stay, why would he not just, kind of dig in? So that'll be interesting to see how that falls out too.
And Black Thor doesn't care if LeBron stays in the NBA or not.
I know
but any chance, I don't know if any of the New York stations have reported this, Black man, any chance of AD coming to the Knicks?
God.
I'll say this, man. I don't know if we talked about it. The Knicks signed a new general manager. He's a former agent of some of these other players, and he has to end with a lot of players. I don't know. I don't think the Garden will be a place he wants to play, basically because of Dolan. But then again, money, man, changes a lot of things, bro. It can change a lot of things. I do think that there's somebody at some point coming to New York. I don't know who, but I think New York's going to find some free agent that's going to come there and basically get Madison Avenue. Because right now, from a standpoint of, let's just say Madison Avenue, we can get some endorsements. New York is prime, brother. Whether they're winning a lot, they need a star in New York dribbling the basketball in the worst kind of way, and they're craving for it. So if you want to come and bring, and I'm not saying it's because I'm a Knicks fan, it could be Anthony Davis, whoever, but if you come to New York and you ball, you see what Michael Strahan did in New York. It's set for you, bro. It's set. So at some point, somebody will see it and take advantage of it.
Ice, you looking real skeptical down there, brother.
Man, you know what? I'm trying to be a kind of gentler Ice right now. Well, y'all make it hard.
Can't help it. You got them shades on. You got to be mean.
I'm trying to be nicer, man. But every time I want to come nice and take a breath, you have to take me to another level. That's like Thor. Well, I tell you. Anyway, but I understand everybody's in love with what can happen in New York. But the whole point of it is you got to have somebody to play with. As long as they keep making horrible mistakes. Now they talk about Kevin Knox is not good enough to play in there. They're about to let him go. Damn, it's been, 2 years? Let him play.
I wasn't sold on him. And
when nobody else was there, he was balling. Now all of a sudden, you get your little happy guy buried and everybody want to turn on him. All I'm going to say is this. I don't see AD going there, but I know y'all do need a superstar. And Black Thor, I do agree with you. And I think you're going to have one, if not next year, the following year. And he's waiting right now. He cannot wait to get there. He's called Hawk Clyde Frazier.
Got about 3 minutes left. Real quick question, either Black or Ice. Any of you have a question?
Go ahead, Black.
My question is this, man. Why so many NFL teams change their uniform? Is that the path down to the Super Bowl?
I don't get it.
What is going on?
Ice, what's this new change?
Hey, I don't know. I do know this. It's like they're confused. They don't have nothing else to do, so they change it. Everybody, Cleveland Browns. Are we going back to when Jim Brown played? Hell, did you ever leave when Jim Brown played? Look like the same freaking uniform. I mean, let's get some yellow or something. The other part too is these teams start looking the same with their logos, like the LA Rams and the Chargers. What? Who's playing? Thank goodness the Raiders at least moved to Las Vegas, and that stadium is amazing. But yeah, I don't understand it. I promise I don't.
You know what it reminds me of? I was looking at some of these uniforms. It reminds me of some of these movies that do movies about football teams and futuristic kind of uniforms and trying to look so much different than the NFL that you don't recognize them anymore. If it works, it works. Stay with it. I don't know if it's a marketing ploy to make more money or to have the vintage uniforms so they can hike those prices up and just in case the newer uniforms. I just don't get it. They don't look good. They're not flashy. And maybe, we're turning into our fathers where we want things to be the same way all the time. But I don't get these changes, the logo on the helmet, the numbers, the block numbers. Just put a number and a name on the jersey and go out there and play. We all know the differences between the team, but why do you think they're doing it, Black?
Other than the marketing, I don't get it, man. I don't get it. It just seems like they're going down the list. One team this week, then you got another team following. I don't understand it. Like you said, some of these jerseys, it remind me of arena football. It's like, seriously, you got to stick with something and be stable in some areas. And the Chargers, I don't understand. You should be the last team. If you didn't do it coming into LA, why are you changing now? It makes no sense, none. But it's like they're falling after each other. This team, this week, this. It's like, cut it out. Realistically, you're right. And maybe we are to the point we're so accustomed to the old uniforms, but I don't understand it. I just don't get it. But to me, some of these franchises are doing it. You look at them, you understand why, because they have nothing else going on. The Chargers have nothing else going on.
Yeah.
Hey, Puma, let me ask you this real quick. I want to know this. I think they should change the helmets where they had like a TV screen, a video screen. So every time somebody make a catch, you see how much money they made per catch. It's like cling, cling, cling. So you find out how much money they made in the game. Fans will be pissed off.
That sounds like Jetson stuff.
I was going to say.
We're going to leave it off right there. Join us on Blog Talk Radio. We'll speak to Donald Boone. He's going to be a draft pick tomorrow. We'll see you in a few.